Nicki Keohohou, CEO and co-founder of the DSWA. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to stop sabotaging your hopes and your dreams. And I've got with me tonight a fabulous person that I'm going to just tell you about for a minute. We've got Pat Pearson here. And of course, she's a seasoned speaker, business professional, psychotherapist, and business builder for over 30 years. She's the author of a book called Self-Sabotage. And you can order that on Amazon if that's something that you'd like to get more information on. That is going to be really, really, really good for you and for for your teams. You definitely want to be doing that. So I'm looking here, and Pat, I think that I have you muted and didn't mean to. So let's unmute you. Pat, go ahead, and if you could unmute yourself. I don't know if you can.
Okay, there
there we go. Just okay, great.
Am
All
I-
right, so you're
I'm
unmuted. You're good. Pat is at a hotel she's been going on a motorhome tour
Right.
in the United States and is having a fabulous time doing that. And we're able to connect and get her to join us for this call, and I'm so happy that she was able to do that. So let's talk about self-sabotage. There's a lot of definitions, and some of you maybe have an idea of what it is and you were thinking about it, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of information. Self-sabotage is when people hinder their own self, when they do things that stops them from being the best they can be. It's when we actively or passively take steps to prevent ourselves from reaching our goals. It undermines your success despite your own wishes, dreams, or values. And it happens every day, and it happens to a lot of people. And some of you may know, some of you may not know that you have done it in your past, but we're going to prevent it from the future, which is really very good. So what may be holding you back? There's a lot of things that hold us back in our business and in life. And, you know, one big thing around that is fear. Fear can hold us back. You know, there are people that have fear of success, fear of failure. There's all kinds of fear. It can also be confidence. And sometimes we don't realize, but our confidence can be taken from us without us even knowing it. And it can happen from a very young age. Experience might be holding us back, or lack of, or knowledge, or lack of. Our naysayers in our life. I don't know if you've had anybody, but most people have had somebody that said, you'll never be able to do it. You can't do it. You're not this, you're not enough, you're whatever it may be. But those people can bring that around. Other people's opinions of us, that can be a challenge. So there are a lot of different things that can hold us back. And if anybody has a comment on that or something that they think may be holding them back, you can type it into the chat box and just share it with everyone. And thank you, Maria, for letting us know you have a big storm. So hopefully you stay and are able to make it through the whole thing. So anything that may be holding you back, let's see if we can figure out where we can move beyond that. So let's talk about the power of affirmations. Pat's going to share a little bit because, you know, we've all heard about affirmations. We've heard about self-coaching. We've heard about those kinds of things, but maybe we aren't using them as much as we could. So Pat, will you take that away?
I sure will. Thank you, Nicki. Thank you for having me too. I'm just loving being here. And I just want to go back for 1 second and talk a little bit about fear. I think at the core of self-sabotage is fear. And fear is basically about predicting a negative outcome. Okay. The difference between fear and excitement, physiologically, there are a lot of them are the same. If you're afraid, you gotta go, oh my gosh, you know, Nicki, you pull up and you get kind of scared and your heart beats. If you're excited, you do the same thing. You win the lottery, you do the same thing, and you're going, yay! The difference between fear and excitement is prediction of the outcome. If we predict a negative outcome, I'm going to call that woman and ask her if I can come over and talk about my product. And she's going to slam the phone down. She's not going to want to talk to me. And I shouldn't ask anyway. Now I'm going to feel afraid and I'm not going to want to do it. if I say, hey, this is going to be fun, I'm going to I give her a gift of being with, with my product. I'm going to share things with her and we're going to have a good time. That prediction of positive outcome moves us forward. So the power of affirmations is the power to predict what will happen. Now that doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but it does relieve some of our anxiety. Because if you say it's going to be awful, then you don't want to do it. I mean, that's just clear. So the thing about affirmations that I find interesting, Nicki, and everyone on this call, is that we've been taught affirmations for a long time. And we've been taught to say, I am selling $500 a week. I am recruiting 3 people every day. I am. The problem with that affirmation is that there's a part of us that has what's called an integrity switch. So when I say I am making $5,000 a month, there's a part of me that goes, are you kidding me? You're laying on your couch. You're not doing that. So the integrity switch says, no, you're not. So I say I am, and then my brain says, no, you're not. And guess who wins, Nicki? The negative, right?
Yes.
The head trash wins every time. So with all the people I work with, and I've been in, as you said, I've been in the business for over 35 years, worked with thousands and thousands of women. And I've changed my way of doing affirmations. I've stopped doing I am because most people don't believe it. And so they negate it. Instead, I want you to say, I choose. I choose to give the gift of my business to all the women I meet and know that the right ones will sign up. I choose to enjoy myself when I'm picking up the phone and asking for to talk to somebody. I choose. I choose is a word of power. It is empower enhanced. And within that belief system of getting your affirmations out there, you have to say I choose, and then you got to believe it. It's just, this whole thing about fake it till you make it. I don't buy. The people who made it weren't faking. They believed it, and the people who were just faking never made it. So you've got to believe it inside. You've got to have some integrity and authenticity about what you're saying to yourself, because you can fool everyone else, but you can't fool you. So I choose. You got to believe what you're saying, and you got to feel good when you say it, right? It can't be something so big and so out there that you don't believe it and that you don't feel good. Give you an example. I worked with a woman who wanted to go on a trip her company was giving. And so she was very ardent about doing her affirmations. And she never made the trip, never happened. And I said to her, call her Susie. I said, Susie, how do you feel when you're saying your affirmation? She said, I feel sick to my stomach. I said, well, that's not going to work. You can't be sick and think that you're going to get a positive outcome. You can't have a negative input and get a positive outcome. So you got to feel good. And what I found, Nicki, is a lot of times if people don't believe the goal's too big, like, $5,000 or $500 a week, or and sometimes it's around numbers. Move back to process. I choose to learn what I need to learn to become the best person on my team, and to attract the right women. One of the reasons I love, one of the ones I love is the women I'm looking for are looking for me. Isn't that nice?
I like
it
that.
Seems like they're already out there. They're looking for me. So you've got to get into a space in which what you say, you believe, you feel good, and you say, I choose. Okay? Turn it around. Don't stay with I am. If you don't believe it, it won't work. So
Excellent.
what do you think about that?
I think that was very clear. And, when you said that about integrity, I always have had a hard time when I would say I am, because I felt like I was lying to myself. Who are you
Right,
fooling? You know,
right.
and it doesn't feel good. So it's a much better step to say I choose.
Yeah.
So let's talk about self-confidence for a couple of minutes here, Pat.
Well, confidence it's an interesting concept because I'm a psychotherapist, so I work with confidence and self-esteem all the time. And a lot of people think if you have one, you automatically have the other. I make a distinction between self-confidence and self-esteem. Now, I think you need both to be a full human being and to really uh, be successful. But self confidence is based on conditional acknowledgement for performance. You are in a company, Nikki, and you sell a lot and you win a prize, and people say, "Look at Nikki, isn't she great?" And that builds confidence. You've done something. You get an A on your biology exam, and that builds confidence. You do
Mhm,
something and you're rewarded for it, and that builds confidence. So
mhm,
it's about doing. You have to do something. And self-esteem, on the other hand, which I think goes with self-confidence, is based on unconditional. So self-esteem has to do with being loved and liked and appreciated, and having people, from your past and from your present, acknowledge that you're a good person. Now, in these businesses we're all in, some people come in just for self-esteem building. They just want to feel part of a good tribe. They want to feel loved and liked. They're not there to build a business. But if you're trying to build a business and you recruit those kind of people, you have a lot of nice people, but you have no production. Okay. So you need to make sure you get some people in there who are doing it, who are working self-confidently or towards that as a business. Um, and then people need to be acknowledged when they do something, when they achieve a goal. And most of these companies are pretty good at that. That builds
mhm.
confidence. It doesn't build esteem. Esteem is built by being cared about.
You
Two
know, part
different
of
things.
this, they are, and part of this that happens, I think, with people is somebody might say something nice to us so that they appreciate us, so that they value us, and then, but we don't take that in. We actually even push it away
Yeah,
and
exactly.
don't own it.
That's right. That's right. So
You
what
know,
I've experienced is that a lot of people in that we work with, you and I, and other the trainers in this industry, they're women are givers. We like to give, and we give, and we give, and we give. Sometimes we give to exhaustion, but we're not so good at receiving it when it comes
mm,
back to us. And we resist, we dodge, maybe we don't even quite believe that people mean it, but we have to receive it because that's what resuscitates us. That's what makes us want to come back. And that. I mean, you can have an awful day and be on a training like this and have people love you and appreciate you and you leave feeling better. It gives you.
mm,
So it's a cycle of life and of love, really. And the two choices are
mm,
to live in fear or live in love. And we got to
mm.
choose to live in love.
And when we have the self-confidence and self-esteem, that affects how we think every day. So therefore, people who have good self-esteem and self-confidence are less likely to self-sabotage.
Well, that's true. And we to give us a little test here. I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How confident do you feel? How much do you feel like you're in charge and doing the right thing and making things happen in your business? 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Give yourself a little rating in your head. Okay.
Mm,
And then do the same with self-esteem. How loved and liked and appreciated do you feel? You can have that globally about everything, or you could just do it about your business. Um, and give yourself a number, 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest. Now, whatever one of those, either self-esteem or confidence, that you rated the lowest is the one that bugs you the most. So if you had a big fight with somebody on your team, your self-esteem is hurt. You know, you're working that through. If you just had somebody quit that you were counting on and that you believe would ascend in your business, your confidence, you're wondering about, am I any good at this? Should I be doing this? So these two things are volatile. They're changeable. You know, we don't stay in the same position. It's based on events that happen to us. But you need both. You know, you need both.
Beautiful. So how can we develop emotional resiliency? You know, some people just seem to bounce back from everything and they don't take all the drama and carry it for the next month or two. They seem to be resilient. How do they become that way?
Yeah, that's about a year-long psychology course
I got it.
in 10 minutes, right? Or 5 minutes.
Yes.
Well, emotional resiliency is the ability to bounce back. It means that not that you don't get hurt or that things don't happen to you, but that you handle them, you process them. Let me give you a very quick way of thinking about it, okay? And this is something that we need in our personal life, in our business life. 3 steps: feel, deal, and heal. Feel, deal, heal. Let me explain myself. When we're doing, this is an emotional business, and all the research shows that 70% of the women who are in direct selling are feelers. That means that only 30% are thinkers. So we got a lot of feelers out there, right? Nothing wrong with that. But what us, and I put myself in that category, us feelers, when something happens, we got to talk about it. We got to process it. We can't just bounce through it, you know? We have to cry or beat a pillow if we're really mad about something. So what we have to do is we have to learn to accept 2 things. Number 1, feelings are facts. They're not up for debate, though we debate them all the time. We say, I don't feel that. Oh, no, I'm not mad. Oh, really? So, you know, or I'm not sad, and we're walking around feeling depressed and sad. So feelings are facts. And feelings have only 2 ways to be expressed. They either go in or they go out. If they go in, they take us down. You know, we have places in our body, we store feelings, Nicki. It's pretty interesting. You know, the back of our body, is the anger tract. If you have chronic neck aches, headaches, lower back pain, it's not caused by a fall or, you know, an auto accident, then you're dealing with unexpressed anger. And we say it, our language says it. We say, you know, she's a pain in the neck or lower down. You know, we say these things and we literally feel pain. I had a client that I worked with for a while who every time she talked to a certain person in her downline, she would get this intense migraine because she was so mad at her and she couldn't express it. So it went inside of her. So the front of our body, the esophageal passage, is the softer emotions: sadness, disappointment. Somebody leaves you. It hurts. It hurts to miss a goal. It hurts when people don't sign up. Your best friend isn't interested. So that, you know, your heart aches. You get your stomach upset, whatever it is. So emotional resiliency is all about processing these emotions rather than denying them, rather than trying to pretend they're not there. I spend all my time working with people, Nicki, on just accepting and processing, dealing with the emotions of this. You know, you're dealing with other women. I mean, there's nothing that's more emotional than that. So you got to feel it, you got to accept it, you got to deal with it, which means you have to express it, get it out of you, talk about it, cry about it, kill people in your shower. That's what.
That's graphic.
They'll never know. They'll never know.
Never
You know,
know.
just stomp around, throw your little, you know. and say whatever you want to say, feel, deal, and then heal. Heal is wonderful because that's when you release them. You're done with it. When you see them in the grocery store, you don't want to throw a mayonnaise jar at their head. You know, you're done. It's just over. So feel, deal, heal. And wherever you're stuck in that process with somebody, it keeps coming back. If you haven't dealt with it, that keeps coming up. So feelings don't go away. You know, the big ones don't. And emotional resiliency is having the courage to deal with them, because you are your business and you are your feelings, and your business reflects them. If you're depressed, so's your business. If you're excited, so's your business. So when I'm working with people as a psychologist, psychotherapist, I'm working with how can they resolve where they're stuck. Because where they're stuck, where they resist, it persists. And that's self-sabotage. If you get to a certain point in your career and you quit time after time, that is a pre-achievement sabotage. You won't let yourself have it. Maybe you get your goal, you're so excited, then you don't keep it. That's a post-achievement sabotage. So we have to learn to deal with the feelings that come up. And for every feeling that you resolve, for every self-sabotage, your income will go up 25%. Now, why can I say that? Because years and years of working with people, and I've watched it, because you are your business and your feelings are you. So you can't get around it. You better deal with it, you know?
I really like that. Feel, deal, and heal. And I know that, again, working with a lot of women in this business, sometimes we ignore or bury our head in the sand or pretend this isn't happening, and we don't deal with things. And as long as we're not dealing with things, it isn't going to go away. No. So part of emotional resiliency to me is learning to deal with it and not hide from it. And really pay attention, because that's why even like in the coach school, we teach, compassionate feedback, how to have that conversation with someone where there is something isn't going smoothly, how we can work together and come to some sort of a way to deal with it so we can heal from it. But I'll tell you what, a lot of people think compassionate feedback is not going to be a conversation. It's going to be a conflict, and they would rather deal with the rest of the stuff than have that conversation. Right. And the conversation is important.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you, Nicki. You're absolutely right. And what happens is that, we all have a fear. I mean, we all went to high school, right? And so we all have this fear of rejection. It's the big R. We're afraid if we talk about it, if we're authentic with someone and share our feelings, that they're going to be mad or they're going to reject us. And that's why we don't ask. We don't ask people to be in our businesses. We don't ask for clarification with a problem with someone, because we have this fear. And I think this woman too. I had a friend who wrote a book called "Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway" by Susan Jeffers. And her position about fear, I loved. She said, what we fear, with the greatest fear, is we can't handle it. Whatever it is. Problem with a colleague, problem with a husband, problem with a kiddo, problem in our health. Just the fear is we can't handle it. And the truth is, emotional resiliency is building up enough courage to take it on and support to help us through it. Because none of us get through it alone. Psychology, it says it takes two to see one. And I believe that, we need support.
Interesting. I wanted to ask you something just that I didn't have planned here, but what do you think is the reason that most people self-sabotage?
I think it's I think it has to do with negative beliefs from their childhood and lack of permission from their past, which is the same kind of thing. Negative belief about, I can't have that. I don't deserve it. I can only go so far. And the permission from your past is the messages you heard from your family. In my family, my father never believed that women could make money or a lot of money. And I wanted to make a lot of money. So I had to struggle with that part of me that said I couldn't do it. And then my mom said I could do anything. So I had mixed messages. But, that took me a fair amount of time to do that, but it was worth it. It was very worth it. And so I just want to invite all your wonderful people on this call to have the courage to learn what they need to learn to have a breakthrough. And that breakthrough will take you to the next level. And then another breakthrough will take you to that next level. 25% within the first 6 months of income increase.
That's a pretty big thing. Yeah. Would anybody enjoy having an extra 25%? You can raise your hand or say yes in the box. And if that's you, okay, then probably we may want to work on these. And we're going to give you an opportunity to do that too as we open up this call. So yes. Yeah,
and just one other thing, that 25% is for one breakthrough. You have two, it's 50%. I mean,
wow.
Do the math.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so let me ask, from what we have shared so far, what was your takeaway? You can either put it in the box or unmute it. I want to know what was your insight that you gathered, because this is like the tip of the iceberg. Again, the book is really important. Stop Self-Sabotage. You can get it on Amazon. And a course that we have coming up that's a 2-part course is going to give you a whole lot more. Oh, Tony, so good. Use I choose instead of I am. Oh, and most people use I am in a negative way. I am to this, I'm not enough that, I'm not good at this. So it kind of carries on over. Here's another one: emotional resiliency, feel, deal, and heal. If you still have feelings about someone or something, you're not healed. That is so true.
That's right.
Your business reflects your emotions you hold. The
Right.
greatest fear with whatever we fear is that we can't handle it. Whatever that thing is. Wow, there's some really good thoughts in here. I choose to. Hearing about the integrity switch. That, I never called it the integrity switch. I just said I felt like I was out of integrity, but it really is a switch. I choose to live in love instead of fear. Isn't that a good thing? Live in love. That's a beautiful thing. Learn to deal with it instead of hiding from it. Excellent. Kathy, I'm so glad you're here. She says the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem. People, they use them interchangeably and people think they're the same. They're not.
They're not.
Chris says, take away main reasons for sabotage. I don't deserve it. So true. Have said this a lot. I don't deserve it. I'd like us to address that here in a minute, just because I know there's other people that have that same feeling. Negative belief from the past and no permission from family. At least I recognize that and throw it off. At least you recognize it. That is so good that you do recognize it, because some people don't. Oh gosh, we got lots of comments here. Permission from your past. Wow. Okay, that's another good one. Here is the women I am looking for are looking for me. I like that one too. I think that's really good. Choose excitement over fear. Great. Right, Paula. Dealing with feelings in and out makes you deal and heal. Inside and outside, because sometimes you don't know where they are. Women I'm looking for are looking for me. Good. So we had a lot of great comments. I'm going to go back though for a moment, because we all know that coaching is such a critical part of your success in this business, and that we have a lot of people that have never been coached around the feeling of I don't deserve it. And you hear from me all the time. So I'd like Pat to take a shot at that. If there's somebody that feels you have had this feeling, I don't deserve it, I'd like you to take a few minutes here with Pat, and we'll get that thing solved. Unmute yourself, or you can type in the chat box and I'll unmute you, or you can put up your hand and I'll try to take you out. No, I won't take you out. That didn't sound right. I'll try to unmute you. This is the time. This is the time. Don't wait. If that's you, this is a chance to get through this. It's absolutely free. Heather, was that you? You'd like to share something? Heather? I don't know if you just joined us. You unmuted. So I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to hold off for that for a moment because I'm going to do a couple more slides and then we'll bring this back.
Can I share?
Yes?
Nikki, hi, this is Paula.
Hi.
I wanted to share, hi, how are you?
Good.
I wanted to share that about 6 years ago, I had a big disappointment with one of my best friends in the country that I was living in that moment. And we had been like for friends for about 5 years or so. So we were really close. And I was very disappointed at her. And then I came to this country, and because we stopped having communication and a relationship, right, a friendship, then I can confess that during the first years, 5 years, I'm here now, the first years, I was still having that conversation in my head, what Pat was saying about, and then everything was starting to, to hurt here in your neck and in the back, and trying to think, I should have said this and that and blah, 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 blah. And actually, for a long time now, like maybe before pandemic, this week, I remember her again, and I didn't have that feeling anymore. So my question is also the fact of not being in that relationship a way of healing?
What in the relationship is a way of healing? I didn't get the word.
Being away
the
from
fact that you are far away and you don't see each other, the person, then can that be also a way of healing because you are not there? And or is maybe because in my heart I forgave her, and I mature more during these 5 years with Nicki and Grace, learning so many things.
I think it's more that you forgave her in your heart. I mean, because people can be mad at their ex-husband for 20 years for the rest of their life. I mean, time doesn't create healing. Love and forgiveness do. And the healing, let's be clear, is not only for her, but for you. I mean, the healing really is inside, but you don't carry the burden anymore,
Exactly.
Let her go. Now you can quicken that pace and not wait 4 or 5 years by taking some time to write a letter that you don't send. Please hear me say, don't send. In that letter, the 3 big emotional issues you need to deal with are the sadness, the depression or disappointment, and the anger. And you need to take time to write those out and say to her, I was so mad that you did this, and I was so hurt and disappointed, and really pour yourself into that letter. And at the end of the letter, you say, I choose to let this go. I choose to free you from this, and I choose to free myself. And I'm done. And, I've worked with hundreds of people with writing letters. It is amazing how much energy can be released that you've been holding on to and revisiting. And if you think about it over and over again, you're not problem solving. That's obsessing. You're obsessing. You're on a wheel that's that's an obsession. So problem solving is addressing it directly, dealing with the feelings, and then letting it go.
And the key there is letting it go.
Yeah.
And not holding on to that, because think about what that does to us when we are holding on to these things. It takes our energy, takes our joy,
Right.
makes us distrust other people, and can cause
right.
us to self-sabotage.
Right. It
All
can.
part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's just no fun. I mean, it's just, who wants to walk around thinking about it? And that's not only for people in our business, it's for people in our family. It's for anybody that we have felt wounded by and we're not feeling done with.
And
Thank
I've
you
got
so
another
much.
really good question here that came in from Crystal, but I wanted to make sure I told you about the class that we have coming up. It's a mini course. It's a 2-part course, July 27th and August 3rd. You can find it on the events page. Just go to DSWA. Well, there it is, Sabotage, dswa.org/sabotage, and you'll be able to find it. If you use the promo code at the end of the order, and it's called Take 10, it's $89. So it's a very, very good deal. And both Pat and I are going to be on that. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I'd get my whole team on there if I was you, because you got people on your team, guaranteed, that are sabotaging too.
Absolutely.
Here's a couple of other questions that have come up, but this one is from Crystal. Been cheated on a lot, so I feel I have learned I don't deserve faithfulness from my partner. I know I do, but emotionally I feel I don't, because it keeps happening, and I internalize it's my fault, as though my brain intellectually knows better. I think because of the cheating in my business, I feel that I'm not a perfect mentor or consultant and give a lot, then it's my fault they quit or leave my business, and I don't do enough or let them down. I'm just going to say something before I go any further with this. I've heard people say this for years. I lost another consultant. Well, here's the news flash. They are not lost. They are not wandering around in the forest. They chose to walk away. And it's not always your fault. Either they work or they don't. But we hold on to that and think it's our fault. Now, Pat, I know you have some words of wisdom on this one, because maybe you can take it to the cheating husband and or wherever you want to go with it. It's up to you.
Well, the problem with most of us women is that we personalize. Whatever happens out there, we decide that it has something to do with us. That and this is a Harvard study. It came out of Harvard about hearing no. Women say, "What's wrong with me?" Men say, "What's wrong with them?" we need to learn to be a little bit more male, in that sense, because it's not about us. Now, I understand when somebody leaves, there are all kinds of reasons, and maybe we can find them out, maybe we can't. But being cheated on is a whole different issue. And that issue basically has to do with dealing with your anger about that happening. Were you my client, I would be helping you get all that anger out, that person decided to make those kind of experiences, that did those kind of things, and not personalize it. Let it be his choice. Let it be him. Give it back to him. Don't take it on, and don't say you don't deserve something because of it. You didn't do it. He did it, and he did it for his own reasons and his own self-sabotage, and just be glad. Hopefully, you're not with him anymore. So let him go and cheat with somebody else. But don't. Women take that on. Like, what was wrong with me? Oh my gosh, I'm not a size 6. That's why he did it. Come on. No, it was him. Let him have it. I mean, if I were you, I'd be beating my bed with my tennis racket and telling him off. Get it out of you and let it go. Quit making it yours. It's not.
Any other comments or thoughts from anybody? You can either type it into the box if you have a question or whatever. We'd love to have you join us for the full on course, the 2-part course. Find that on the website. But in the meantime, if there's anything else, we'd love to answer that for you. Here, put his name in your shoe, then walk him out of your life. Don't stomp him out. I love that, Renita. You are very smart. Put him in your shoe. Walk him out of your life. You can do that with a lot of circumstances too.
Yeah.
Nikki,
That's it.
can I
Remember-
make a comment?
Cheryl.
I
Cheryl.
I have a perfect example of self-sabotage with Pat. She may not remember this, but she asked me years ago to write something for a book that she was writing. And I had fear of exposing my feelings, but I wrote it, but I sabotaged it because I missed the deadline to submit it by 1 day.
Oh,
And no, but I thank you for adhering to that, because it taught me a lesson. The value was that I wrote it and I got my feelings and expressions out,
Right.
but it taught me a lesson to not procrastinate. Seriously, I thank you for saying no. You may not remember it, but I do.
Well, I remember you for sure. I remember you fondly. Good to see you again. Yeah. I thought, Cheryl Honesty, I know that name. Yeah. It's been a while, probably 20 years, Cheryl. It's been a really long time.
Anybody else have questions or thoughts? Here's a couple. It is important to find the lesson or the gift when working through your past, or just let it go. Is it important to find the lesson, or should you just let it go?
Well, I'm always for finding the lesson. Yeah. I mean, particularly if it's something that's repetitive. You know, if it's happened over and over, the question is, how are you participating in that? What is my part of whatever this is? Because in a relationship, it's always 50-50. You always have a part. And that isn't to blame you or make you bad, but it's just to see it, understand it. And if that's something you want to resolve, then you take it on, you know? And if it's not, if somebody is just left and you don't know why, and you're never going to know why, because they're not talking about it, then just, feel, deal, and heal. Just let it go. It's not yours to bear.
That's probably a good way to look at it. I just had a conversation with somebody that I love very much, a very dear friend that is going through divorce. And this is her 3rd marriage. And she said to me, I feel like I'm not a good judge of character. I'll never marry again. I'll never be with anybody again. I don't want to have a man in my life. I'm not a good judge of character. And it was interesting because I was looking for a reframe for that. And I've known her through all of these. And I said, is it that you're not a good judge of character, or that the character changed after you were married? That's called the distinction question in coaching. And she got it. She goes, they changed. They acted a certain way until we got married. And then they became who they really are. So sometimes we blame ourselves first and think we're a screw up or it's all our fault, but there could be another possibility. Look beyond what you think immediately and see what else is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Here's a good thought from Renita, if I could share this, Pat. Happiness is a choice, not a result. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to be happy. No person will make you happy unless you decide to be happy. Your happiness will not come to you. It can only come from you. That was beautiful. Crystal says, wow, that's deep. Did the character change after marriage? Well, yeah, the character changed on that one, and it was deep. And she's doing much better now in coming through the other side. So anybody else with a comment or a thought, this is your chance. You got both of us until you come back to the class in a couple of weeks. Chris, thank you so much. I love you. And she says, great class tonight. Thank you, Nikki and Pat. I highly recommend Pat's book. It is worth your time to read and have in your library. Absolutely true. And you'll get more of that in the class. So, oh, she's got it in her hand, Chris. Good job. You must keep it
So
handy.
salad, Christine. All right.
That's
I didn't
beautiful.
plant Christine. I didn't know she was going to do that. But
But I'm glad you did.
good
Well,
for you.
take care, everyone. Have a beautiful day. We know that you're all in a good space, and now's the time for you to stop self-sabotaging so you can have a great rest of the year.